Disclaimer before this video starts, I'm pretty self-conscious about my voice and I'm not used to recording it, so if I sound weird or maybe a little quiet, just know that's the reason. Anyways, on to the video. Hello, my name's Tiki and I've been a casual artist my entire life. About a year ago, I really decided to dedicate myself to getting better at art and having fun with it. And in that year of study, I've learned quite a bit, or at least I hope so. So if you've clicked on this video, either you're like me, and you like to watch the early tutorials just in case you somehow forgot something really important early on in the art process, self-taught artist, y'all know what I mean, or you've more recently decided to start dedicating yourself to art and getting better at it, which, if you are, great job. Getting started is one of the hardest parts, and choosing to begin is a huge step forward. I promise, it's only up from here. To start, I feel like it's best to clear the air about a lot of art stigmas, myths, and assumptions that a lot of beginners, including myself back in the day when I started, believe or believed when they start their journey. One thing that a lot of people assume when they start is that art is something that you have to have a natural talent for, to be like the pros or like the super popular artists you follow on Tumblr, Instagram, or Twitter, which, let me just say, that's a total lie. Allow me to show you the first drawing I did on my art tablet 1 year ago. Yes, it's absolutely horrible, and I can tell you, I was one of the least talented people when it came to art. I just got an art tablet and I had no clue what I was doing, and I just threw myself into it. And while I'm far from an expert, I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm confident enough in my art to say, hey, I don't suck at this anymore. I'm capable of making some pretty good art. And I promise, you're gonna get there too, with the right mindset and a whole lot of work. People always assume that art is something that comes naturally, or that artists don't struggle, or make mistakes, or make art that they hate. I guarantee you that every artist you admire and look up to regularly makes art that they hate, regularly makes mistakes, and regularly thinks to themselves, why can't I draw this? Or, this was so easy to draw a while ago, why am I struggling with it now? The thing with artists and life in general in this day and age is that oftentimes all we see is the best people put forward. Because, that's all they put forward. The artists you love only post the art that turns out well, but they probably scrapped 10 times more pieces that just weren't working out. Or they had to delete tons of lines and had to redraw parts. They messed up, and that's a normal thing. That's kind of what makes any art feel beautiful. None of it is a straight cut line. You work at a restaurant, you know exactly how to make the orders, how to serve the tables, how to help the customers. Everything has a guidebook and a clear way to do it. Art isn't like that. Art is one of the most subjective things ever, and I can tell you that, yeah, that makes it really hard to make something you think is good. But I promise, that's a natural thing. It's true for any type of skill, but especially for art, that improvement is never a straight line upwards. When you're making art, you're gonna have days where you can almost see the improvement. You can watch in real time as you're getting better, learning new things, honing your skills, watching your hand glide across the paper as you're learning something. And they're great, those days are awesome. Savor them as much as you can. But then, accept that there'll also be days where you seem to forget anything you knew about art. You can't draw faces right, you don't have the energy to draw, you just can't decide on a project. All those things are natural struggles of improving as an artist. Like we hear a lot of memes about drawing the other eye. It's true, it sucks. You may even feel like sometimes that your line is going downwards, but I promise you that it isn't. If you're working on art and trying to get better, every slope downward is just a temporary dip. Even if it feels like it, you didn't just magically lose all of your art skills. You just hit a low. Maybe you're really tired, maybe you didn't sleep very well, maybe you neglected your physical health, or maybe you just hit art block. It's a normal thing, it's okay. So now that my long rambling is out of the way about all those misconceptions, making sure all you guys, clearing the air a little bit, dressing the elephant, I can actually talk about the real bulk of the video. So, TLDR for that section, there are tons of myths around art and things that beginner artists assume is true about making art, and so many of those things just aren't true. You don't need some special skills or some special material. All you need is the want to make artwork, and the rest will follow naturally. Now, for those of you just starting art, I think one of the most important things to think about when starting is your mindset and expectations. A lot of blooming artists quit before they've started because they compare themselves to artists so much further down the line and decided, nope, I'm never gonna be that good, so I'm not gonna try. I'm just not even gonna give it a shot. Because why? I'm never gonna reach that. And it's really sad to see, because that's like planting a seed and feeling like you failed as a gardener because it didn't sprout up in a day. If you start by only comparing yourself to others and thinking about all the things you want to be, then all you'll end up doing is just punishing yourself for what you're not instead of celebrating what you are. So the first step to beginning art is to learn to accept where you are, even if it's not perfect. Accept that you're going to be pretty bad at the beginning, accept that you're not going to be where you want to be in a day, accept that even if you can't be exactly like all those artists you admire and draw exactly like they do, that you still make good art and have a style of art completely unique to you. The first step to self-love is self-acceptance. Learn to accept yourself for who you are before you worry about who you can become. I promise, it's worth it. How do you do that, you ask? Well, what I did when I really struggled with it about a month ago was that I got into the habit of telling myself this little mantra whenever I felt jealous of another artist or started to compare myself to another artist that was, farther ahead than me. I'm not going to be exactly like that artist, and I'm not at their level yet, and that's okay. Learning to accept where you are can help you decide where you want to be. Allow yourself to start wherever you are and learn to be okay with whoever you are right here, right now, instead of punishing yourself for not being further down the road. Another important thing to remember is to try to learn how to enjoy the art you make and just be happy with creating before worrying about showing it to someone else or what they might think. It's hard to look at your art and actually be happy with it. Trust me, I've been there. You love it one moment and you can't bear to look at it the next. Try your best to take pride in just having made something, even if it wasn't perfect. Take a moment to soak in the fact that you created, that you made marks on the paper and made something. It's a great feeling, even if what you made wasn't exactly what you had hoped for. I still look back at my sketchbook with these garbage sketches from months ago, like horrible, weird tentacle-looking hands, really weird faces, and even if looking at those sometimes makes me cringe, I feel proud that I made something, that I sat down and I filled in the pages with my work. Creating is something great, no matter how quality the art you created is. It's worth looking back on and being proud of. Okay, my final piece of advice to all you fledgling draw persons out there is to learn to make art for yourself first, not for other people. In the online age we live in, it's pretty tempting for artists to post what they create online, to share with friends, join in the communities, and show support for the content they love. And that's a great thing. But when you first start, it might not be the best. If you post everything you draw online, it's easy to get addicted to that online attention and start only making art for others. To start, you should focus on just making art that makes you happy, without worrying at all about what the other people would think about it. If you want to show someone, you can. Just focus on showing it to people that you trust, like friends and family or maybe close artist friends. And don't worry about posting it to the world to try to get likes and shares, because that's not what art's about. I'd say that starting out, the best thing to do is to just draw the most self-indulgent things you can think of. Even if it's super embarrassing or weird, just do it. It doesn't just help you learn that art is, first and foremost, something that's supposed to be fun and fulfilling in itself, but it also helps you find what you want to draw. Do your self-indulgent drawings normally have furries in them? Well, maybe you'll like drawing furry art. Do you draw a lot of cartoony characters from shows that you like? Maybe you'll like drawing fan art. Finding what makes you happy as an artist is a huge step in finding your art style, and that's amazing. Throw yourself into your art and really just make whatever makes you happy. You deserve it. Okay, I know I said that would be the last tip, but I got one more quickie. I should not have said quickie. Anyways, the final, most important piece of advice is to just make art. I know it sounds really generic, and you've probably heard it from so many other people, and it leaves you with a lot of questions, but it really is that simple. There aren't going to be any magical tricks to get better at art. You can't know everything there is to know about art before you start making it, so stop trying. The most important thing of art is just jumping right in and figuring stuff out for yourself. I know you're really scared of messing up or making something that you don't like. That's totally normal. But I really feel like the only way to improve is to find out what you need to get better at. And really, you don't know what you don't know. Till you get into making art and start making the mistakes and getting messy, then you aren't going to know what you need to improve on. Maybe you messed up drawing that character's eye really bad. Now you know that you need to learn how to draw eyes. Your anatomy might look weird, so I guess that's going to be next to practice. You might want to draw a huge cityscape for this big piece, but you can't really get the perspective to look good. Well then, if that happens, you better get on the YouTubes and start looking up perspective tutorials. Mistakes are our greatest teachers, and I promise you that they will teach you more than I will ever be able to in 100 videos. So the best piece of advice I can give you is to try to push yourself past that fear, even if it's hard, and just dive in head first. Mistakes are something that we're normally very scared of. Like, we're afraid that it shows that we're not good at what we do, or we're just a failure. The exact opposite is true. Mistakes teach us of what we're capable of. They're teachers. And making mistakes doesn't mean that you aren't a good artist. It's a natural thing, so don't be afraid to just make mistakes. Accept that you did, and even show them to others if you want to. It's okay. Mistakes are totally normal. So, for those of you who got lost in my rambling, which, if you did, I don't blame you. Here are the points summarized. Number 1. Every artist ever has tons of art they don't like, and they regularly mess up a ton, just like you will. I promise, every artist you've seen, none of them are perfect, even if it looks like they are. Number 2 is that art is a skill, not a talent. Anyone can get good at it, and nobody is ever born an amazing artist. It all came through hard work and dedication and making all those mistakes. Number 3, improvement is never a straight line. You're gonna have ups and downs, and that doesn't mean that you aren't getting better. It just means that's a natural part. It just means that you might need a break, or it might just be that you're taking a temporary dip. Number 4, learn to accept where you are and not to beat yourself up for making mistakes or not being where you want to be yet. It's okay to not be perfect. Forgive yourself for your shortcomings so that you can dream about how good you'll be one day. Number 5, creating is a great thing in itself, even if what you created isn't perfect. You are an artist because you made art. There isn't a requirement for skill to consider yourself an artist. Number 6 is to make art for yourself first and for others second. Art is meant to be personal, so feel free to have fun and make whatever you want. And finally, number 7, just make art. Accept that you'll make mistakes and end up making stuff that you didn't exactly expect. Grab that pencil and just dive right in, even if it's hard. Art is, in general, a pretty tough hobby to pick up. And that mostly comes from the emotional struggles that come all bundled up with it. Like feeling like you might not be a good enough artist, or feeling like you'll never get where you want to be. And that kind of mixes up with the fact that art in general is just freaking hard in practice. Like, trying to capture something on paper is really difficult. But just know that it's okay to be confused and even a little scared. Just remember that no matter what art you make, no matter how often you make it or how good it is, you're an artist all the same, and you're doing great. I'm very proud of you. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have any criticism or advice, either from me or for any starting artists that might be watching this video, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyway, thank you all so much, and I'll see you later. Peace.